Hi, I'm Metasha Young. I'm on a community leadership podcast.
What do you do exactly for CPD?
I am the domestic violence liaison officer.
So what does that entail?
Speaking with victims who have dealt with domestic violence and helping advocate for them to get order protections or any services, be it counseling, child care, or whatever, to help them in that moment to get out of that situation. Or just talking to them.
Okay.
Because every situation does not always lead to order protection.
Oh, okay.
6 years.
6 years. Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you? What?
I love it.
Okay, you love it.
Wish I had did it sooner.
Because you went in at what age? Yeah, I'm asking. I'm asking, girl. I'm asking.
Let me see. I was probably about 34.
Okay.
Because I think I started the process like at about 32. Because it took me like 2 years to get on.
Right, because you got to go through the whole process of waiting for them to call you, the waiting list.
Yeah, it was a long process. But yeah, so I got on at a later.
But that's a good age, though. More mature age.
Yes.
Yeah. 'Cause sometimes when some young cops are just a little too.
Yes.
Cowboys and Indians they want to play sometimes.
Yes.
You're more mature. You know what you're doing.
More mature, life experiences, things were different. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
What have you seen when you go to a call, right? Because these are calls you go to? Are they called calls?
I don't have to go to them, no.
Okay. What do you when you go to these people, what is it called? It's just
I'm just physically calling them over the phone.
Okay.
I don't have to go to their house. In extenuating circumstances, I may have to do a visit. Mm-hmm. But most of it is just over the phone.
Okay. What have you experienced, whether it's over the phone or going to someone's house, where it moved you to love your job more or want to leave their job? What are your experiences there with people in those situations that you pick up the phone and you're talking to somebody and they're going through something? Do you see victory because of what you're doing? Do you see positivity coming out of it? Or do you think people are stuck?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. If you could tell me a story about a victory, let's start with that. That you saw a victory on a call that you made.
The most victory is when they are able to get out of the situation. And that does happen. The hard part of it is when you speak to people who don't really want to, who's not ready. Knowing like the worst case scenario of these situations. So that makes it difficult because I don't think they understand the severity of the circumstances. But the victories are when they get out and they do something. And it's hard. It's not because people are quick to say, well, why don't you just leave? Well, if you have kids, if you're rely on them for finances, if you've been with them for 15 years and they have mind control, they take care of you, you don't have a career, your education may be lacking, so you can't really just go out and do too much. And they've already isolated you from your family or your friends, so you don't have anybody. So you have to connect with other people and try to find that all over again. And most of the time they are fully in control of that situation. So it's hard. It's not as easy as people think it is to get out of a domestic situation. Mm-hmm. Because those, be it man or woman, because it goes both ways, it's difficult. Mm-hmm. And it's a process.
So tell me in a situation with a man.
The man being a victim?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Men don't want to do anything. Like they don't really want to press charges on their kid's mom. Or they don't want to get order protection because they feel like that's weakness when it's really not, because she has to be held accountable for her actions as well as if it was a guy. He has to be held accountable for his actions. But I think men don't see it the same. They're like, oh, I don't want her taken away from our kid. Well, she should have thought about that when she decided to do whatever she did. So I think that's probably the hardest. Some men listen and then some like, well, I'll give her another chance. I'm like, okay, I can't force you. Mm-hmm. I can just tell you the consequences of not doing what you need to do to get out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What does CPD offer? What kind of help do they offer these people that are going through these issues?
so my job is to connect them with resources, be it different organizations or partners or community members that offer support for these victims. So it's trying to help them out of that situation, be it housing, be it childcare, be it just relocating or getting them to a family member or whatever it is to try to help them out of it. Counseling, whatever that looks like, because every situation is different and everyone doesn't need everything. So it really is, it's not cookie cutter. Okay. It's kind of on an as-needed basis, what each individual person needs.
Have you ever met these people in person?
Some I have.
Let's say someone you met. Of course, you met the ones you went to their houses.
Yeah.
But the ones on the phone, have you ever met them?
I've met one. And it was like, she knew what she heard. She was like, oh. It was one of those moments. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't, I'm so excited to meet you. And I'm like, yes, I'm just Officer Young. It's okay. No big deal. And you kind of create a relationship with them unknowingly because you talk to them. You may talk to them for 5 minutes. You may talk to them for 20 minutes. You may talk to them for an hour to try to help them through that moment. And you just don't know where they are in that moment and how much of an impact you have on them. So with her, it was nice. It was nice to get to see what it looks like versus just being on a phone. So, yeah.
How does that make you feel inside when you...
Oh, amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as my goal is if I can help one person a day. That's all that matters. I don't care if I made them smile. I don't care if I gave them resources. Regardless of what they do with it, as long as I did something to help, that's all that matters to me. So.
That's awesome. Have you always been this person? I mean, we know you were Brad when you were younger, but have you always been this person that cares for
I've always been an
advocate for people?
An advocate for people, yes. Mm-hmm. Always been an advocate, and I'm naturally a caretaker.
Okay.
Which can be at fault to a certain extent because you always want to help. Everyone doesn't need your help. That is something I would say I'm learning in the past year, maybe year and a half, maybe even 2 years, at slow increments of learning that people will use that to their advantage because they know that you are a helper and they take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. So you have to sometimes stand stern, and to others that may seem like you being mean or rude or aggressive, but it's no, I'm standing on what I'm saying, and you have to accept it. Mm-hmm. And they have to respect when you deal with them or don't deal with them. Mm-hmm. So being a natural protector and a caretaker is hard when you see people in need. But I have to learn. What I've learned is some people need it and want it, and some people need it and don't care. They just want to take, but do nothing with it. Mm-hmm. So that's something I'm learning about people. So.
Okay. So you also you work out, right? You have a shirt on right now. It says 805.
805 Fitness.
What is that?
That's my fitness studio.
And what kind of fitness studio is it? Where is it at in Chicago?
It's on the northwest side, I would say. 5254 West North Avenue. It's a small fitness studio that is ran by me. I'm a certified personal trainer.
Hold up. I got to slow you down a little bit.
Yes.
So you went to school to be a doctor. From being a doctor to a firewoman to a CPD. I think I'm missing one, though.
You're missing quite a bit.
There was one in between, right? What was it?
So I'm going to take you back.
Yeah.
I went to cosmetology school.
Cosmetology, there you go.
I went to medical assistant school. I became let me.
Yeah, bring it
cosmetology.
back.
CNA.
Yes.
Bartending, medical assistant, Doula,
The doula. There you go. That's what I was trying to remember.
personal trainer.
Can we stop there?
Yes.
Because we're getting into personal trainer now. Let's go back to doula.
Okay.
So for the people that don't know, what is a doula?
It is a birthing coach and an advocate for the parents or the mom who is having the baby. So be it, it supports the mom through the transition as soon as she finds out she's pregnant to kind of help her go through the process of learning how her body changes, be it breastfeeding, natural birth, C-section, you kind of go over all that if it's a new mom. So it's based on if she's a new mom or a mom who's had babies who just want to do more natural and have an advocate there to help during the birth of the baby. So you're the advocate for the mom and baby.
So did you ever do it?
I have.
Okay. What does that look like?
Oh my God. Amazing.
So you're called, right? Or
Yes, you're called.
I'm feeling contractions, and
Yes.
so now you're packing your stuff and you're going to a person's house?
I went to the hospital.
Hospital, okay.
Yeah, she called. Hers was scheduled, so I had already packed my bag, so I was ready. But I had to work as well. So the first day I was off. So I'm like, okay, we get to the hospital and she's been induced. Induction is when they give you medication to create the contractions.
Correct.
Unfortunately, she had high blood pressure, so everything changes. Then you have to worry about preeclampsia, which is when mom blood pressure go up. She can potentially have a stroke. Like, it's a whole situation that happens with that. So we had to slow it down. I stayed. We probably got there about 7 o'clock at night. I didn't leave until 3 or 4 in the morning because I had to go to work.
Okay.
So I go to work and I let her know, hey, call me. Let me know what's going on. Everything is fine. She's contracting, so she's calling me. And I'm like, okay, breathe. And we're kind of talking. And I'm trying to, like going through this whole process. And we were trying not to do epidural. And I'm telling her, I'm like, look, if you need it, go ahead and get it because I'm not there to coach you through it. Because if I was there, you wouldn't need it. So she ended up getting epidural. And I don't remember the last time she called me. I kind of knew just by speaking with her. I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to leave work anyway. So I left. It's like raining and like snow. It took me almost an hour to get to the hospital. Parking was crazy. I'm literally changing clothes in the car, switching out of work pants into scrubs to get into the hospital. And I'm running. I get upstairs and, she's going through her contractions. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what are you feeling? And she's like, I feel a little bit of pressure. I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's just, wait. And then the nurse comes in. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what type? I'm like, are you like feeling like real pressure? Like you need to push pressure? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, the next time you feel a contraction, just go ahead. So she did. And I saw the baby crowning. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, nurse, you might want to call the doctor because this baby is coming. And sure enough, because her bag broke. And he started crowning. The doctor comes in, she's running. I'm like, oh yeah, this baby is coming. And I want to say maybe 3 pushes and he was out because he was a little small. Okay. He came a little early. I got to cut his cord.
Hey.
And it was amazing. And mommy did well. And yeah, it was the best of both worlds. Like leaving one profession to go to the next. It was everything. Like it's I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So tell us about now 805 Fitness. So what do you do there at 805 Fitness? If I was going there because I want to lose an extra 20 pounds right now, where would you start me off at? What would I do? What kind of exercises are we doing?
Well, it depends on what you can physically do.
I like that.
Like, what are your eating habits? What do you normally do? Behaviors. And then we'll get into the workout. So it's like kind of learning who you are as a person, like the whole body versus just, hey, get over here and do some push-ups or squats and all this. Like, what do you really do so it can make sense? And your physical limitations. So I kind of like to do it as a whole body or just let me see your wellness first. A food journal so we can kind of see what you're taking in and what's realistic for your goals. because muscle weighs more than fat. So are you looking for a look, or are you really worried about the weight? I focus more on a look. I don't really care about weight. And what your blood work look like when you go to the doctor.
That's good.
So in the world, we have focused more on how much someone weighs and not how healthy they really are. Because you could have someone that's 100 pounds and have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all that because it's genetics. And sometimes you just can't get rid of those things. So it really depends. But mine is more whole body. And what are your goals? And we kind of talk about it. And what does that truly look like in real life? I'm more of a lifestyle trainer, not a rush and get it done. And 2 months, you look totally different. That's not sustainable. You're not going to keep it up. If I tell you to stay on a diet for the rest of your life, that's not happening. I like to eat. And I'm not going to say, oh, we'll never eat this again. No, in moderation. Everything in moderation. So.
Yeah. My partner, my business partner, he works out a lot, drinks a lot of water. I told you.
Yeah.
That's why he's always going to the John. And the other day, he had a good time. He works out a lot. I mean, it's his therapy. And I could tell when he's in a bad mood and he hasn't worked out.
Okay.
But he did something the other day. He did a no-no.
What did he do?
He ate a lot of pizza.
So?
No, well, he put it on Facebook and put, I did a no-no.
Oh, my God.
He felt the guilt. Did you, Jay? He's probably shaking his head back there.
I always show the good of being cooking good food and everything else, right? But I also got to show, hey, I'm naughty as well, right?
Absolutely.
And that's normal. Hey, if I'm going to be naughty, so I show the naughty side. Hey, yeah, I did have a pizza. Yes, I had some Reese's Pieces too.
Yes.
All in one setting?
All in one.
Hey, that's the way I like it.
Awesome. That'll be edited out. I just wanted to mess with him.
But that's how I like. That's the point. Like it has to be human. It has to be your day-to-day life. What does your day-to-day life look like? Do you work overnight? Do you work during the day? Do you work in the evening? So what I would do versus what you would do, or someone who works night, is totally different. So it's not one all be all. It's kind of like what fits to your lifestyle. So when I work nights, I worked out way more versus working morning. Like I go to the gym at 5 a.m. now. That's rough. I have to be in the bed at a certain time because the struggle is real. Oh my goodness. I'm not in as much shape as the shape that I was in. So now I'm getting back to it. So the struggle is real. Yeah. Especially when you have a taste for some insomnia cookies.
Those are good.
Yes, they are. So you have to stay. It's certain things that, I have my guilty pleasures. Like I used to drink 6 Cokes a day.
That's a lot of sugar.
Horrible.
Yes.
Now it's like, I can go without it. When before, oh my goodness, I had really bad eating habits, but I didn't gain weight. My metabolism was amazing. So,
And now?
Now I purposely gain weight. Like it's hard.
Because you're trying to bulk up.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I got tired of being like super skinny.
Okay.
Even after kids.
Okay.
Still super skinny.
So at your fitness studio, do you do anything for the community? Do you help out the community in any kind of way to get them in there? Get some older people maybe in there or some younger people in there to learn how to.
So actually, I've been toiling around with that recently to try to get, because I've done like flyers, and sometimes people are not really into fitness. It's hard. It's really hard to bring people into fitness. So I'm playing around with that now to see what that looks like to get more people involved within a community, and how I can help them understand that it's not going to be a sergeant standing over you, drilling you to work out and making you uncomfortable. What I noticed is when I first started working out, you're nervous, you're scared, you're concerned if people are going to be looking at you if you do something wrong, if you don't look like everyone else, what is your workout clothes. Nobody really cares about that. But in your mind, when you first start working out, you think people really care about that, but they don't. Not if you're really in there working out. I don't care what you have on. I don't care if you got holes in your socks, your pants are holy. So what? But I think that's something we have to be more transparent about. But I think the world we are in, people show the glam of it. The women that's so fit and they look flawless and their hair is done, makeup's done. That's not how you really look in the gym. You're sweaty. Your hair may look a mess. You may have a baseball cap on. You may have a skull cap on with jogger pants or some leggings. You're not always matching every time you go to the gym. Because if it's a struggle day, you're on the struggle bus, you're grabbing whatever and you're going out the door. You don't always set your clothes out at night to go to the gym. Like, I mean, maybe if you got that lifestyle. I don't know. I don't.
I throw whatever I got in my bag. Whatever it is, it goes in my bag.
It's like,
I change my
okay,
uniform.
pants, shirt, whatever, and I'm out.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah. I'm working on getting the community more involved in fitness.
Yes.
That is a goal of mine this year.
Yes. So in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Well, that was loaded. 5 years where? In what?
In life.
In life? 5 years from now. Well, 805 Fitness being a true brand for itself. In a serious relationship, if not married. Owning some real estate, rental income, and having my grad degree.
Okay, going back to school.
Yeah, well, I'm in school now
Okay.
to get my master's. So that'll be done. Probably a second master's by that time.
In what?
Nutrition.
Okay.
So I can be certified dietitian.
Your resume is going to be long and beautiful.
It is.
Long and
It
beautiful.
is. Because my master's now is in exercise science with a concentration in sports nutrition. So the nutrition part to get the master's so I can sit for the state board so that I can help the community. That the goal of mine is to help the community to understand what wellness looks like. And it's not always teaching them you can eat what you eat, but we can cook it healthier. And just trying to find different ways to bring it full circle. So yeah, that's what it seems like. I hope that's the plan.
Okay. So we spoke about your victories. You have a lot of victories.
Yes,
Any struggles?
yes, daily. I suffer from migraines, and that's an everyday struggle. And I have vertigo as well. So, like, I have to get injections every 3 months for my migraines. I get an injection monthly for my migraines. And I have medication that I take regularly for my migraines just to function.
Has that been all your life?
I've had migraines since I was a kid, but they've gotten worse. In 2020, I had COVID. So in about 2017, 16, I got my daft pierced. And that stopped it.
Really?
Yeah. So for like 3 years, I had no migraines. They were very minimal. Like I could just take ibuprofen or Excedrin migraine and I was fine. Never was able to do that before. Got COVID in 2020, March of 2020. June of 2020, I had a horrible migraine. And from that day forward, they've been back and with a vengeance.
You caught COVID right off the bat because March 2020 is when the lockdown happened.
Exactly.
And that's when it started coming back,
Yep.
these migraines.
Like my head was hurting when I had COVID. And then after, like, I was off of work for a while. I was really jacked up. And then that June, I got a really bad migraine, and that was it. So that's my everyday struggle.
That's your struggle.
Everyday struggle. And then I have a mom with Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So-
Let's talk about mom.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with your mom today?
My mom lives with me.
Okay.
It's that's been a challenge. That's a challenge to see your parent go from being this superwoman who worked really hard to be who she is and lose a husband at a young age, and to put all that work in to not be able to really remember everything. It's like, that sucks. Because even just the things that we do, she doesn't remember all the time. From something as simple as, did she see me this morning? And she's like, I haven't seen you. And I'm like, Mom, you just saw me. And I stopped saying that. Now I understand, like, as we're getting acclimated with it more, now I understand. I just will say, oh, okay, you know. When before I would get so upset, I would cry. And she'd be like, why are you crying? I'm like, you're making me upset. And it's like, it's not you, but it's what we're dealing with. And it's a whole mental process. Like, you have to really process that and understand that this person is transitioning to a person that you don't know and they don't know themselves. And it's going to look different as the process goes along. So that's probably, because she's my best friend. Like, that was like my girl. Like, yeah. So that's difficult. Because we can't even have those real conversations anymore, because it's like a waste, because I can't come back to it. So if I'm going through and I like want to talk to my mom, we can talk, but it's like, it's not really, I'm not going to get the same depth as I would have gotten before. Because my mom was like that mom that she going to stand with you 10 toes down no matter what, right or wrong. She going to tell you wrong, but she's standing with you. So even to this, like, she's kind of in and out of it. But that's probably one of my that's a daily struggle too, to deal with that.
Who do you go to for that? Who do you go to? Okay, so you know I'm spiritual. I don't know if I told you that or not.
Yes.
I'm a deacon.
Oh, you didn't tell me you were a deacon, but yeah.
Do you go to Jesus for that? Do you believe in the higher power?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So I do pray about it. And I think that helps me a lot in my moments, and understanding my challenges or my life experiences is what I need. This is clearly what I need to be who I am, and it's necessary. So I've accepted it. I mean, I go to therapy too, because it's necessary. Because if you have not experienced it, it's hard to talk to people who don't know what that really looks like. Because I saw this in my mom 10 years ago, but no one else saw it. But because we were so close, I noticed the change first and the doctors didn't even notice it. And I'm telling them, like, something's different. Like, something's wrong. You guys need to figure this out. It's like, oh, no. I'm like, okay. And recently the doctor was like, she can talk you out of bed, can't she? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, her vocabulary is so vast that you wouldn't even notice it, but you have to sit with her long enough to know, because she'll get you thinking like everything is normal because her vocabulary is really good. But if you sit there long enough, she'll start repeating and she'll start saying the same thing. You're like, oh, okay. That makes sense now. But I pray about it, and I don't question God, but I do, I'm like, why'd you give all this to me? Like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, what is this? Like, why? Why? I mean, you don't compare your life to others, but you compare your life to others that don't really have the same issues. And you're like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, some days it's rough, but I still got to put on a face and go smile and act like everything's okay. And I think that's probably the most challenging days, when we've had a night where she's been up and trying to figure that out. And what does that look like? Because my life has like totally adjusted. Having an alarm system, making sure she sleeps before I go to sleep, and dealing with my migraines, and being able to, my kids are involved, so they have to help with grandma. So our life is kind of, I would never put her in a home. That's not happening. So it's one of those things where you just got to figure it out. Whatever that looks like, do it. So it's by any means necessary. Got to get it done.
If you could help out one person or yourself, who would you help out? You have to choose
Help out in what form?
any kind of form.
You know what? I'm choosing me
Why?
because I always choose others. And not until maybe a day or two ago did I start saying I'm choosing me. Because I give until I have nothing left. And then I have nothing for me. So that's something I've been working on. So I would give to me.